clear? So this term is used to, you must have heard about this term in last class also, but we are going to revise that topic first. Okay children, so before starting or discussing about redox reaction, let us pass through two terms, that is oxidation and reduction. Oxidation and reduction. Now first let us consider oxidation. We know that oxidation means it is a process which involves addition of oxygen. Oxidation is a process which involves addition of oxygen. Okay, so here we can say that suppose if you consider CH4 plus O2 will give you CO2 plus water. So in this case we can see that it involves addition of oxygen. So this type of reaction which involves addition of oxygen is termed as oxidation. On the other hand, if you consider reduction, it is a process which is considered as removal of oxygen. Suppose if you heat mercuric oxide, decomposes and gives you mercury and oxygen. Is it clear? So we consider oxidation as a process which involves addition of oxygen, but reduction is a process which involves removal of oxygen. Now here it is not only the process of addition of oxygen, we can consider oxidation as a process which involves addition of electronegative radical. Is it clear? Oxidation is a process which is considered as addition of oxygen and addition of electronegative radical. That is, for example, if you consider magnesium combines with the chlorine and produces magnesium chloride. This is also considered as an oxidation process. And on the other hand, we can consider reduction as a process which involves removal of electronegative elements. For example, if you consider FeCl3 plus hydrogen will give you FeCl2 plus HCl. Here you just consider from ferric chloride becomes ferrous chloride, which involves removal of electronegative element. Is it clear children? So we define oxidation as the process which involves addition of oxygen or addition of any electronegative radical, but reduction is defined as the process which involves removal of oxygen or removal of any electronegative radical. Okay, next process we can consider oxidation is also defined as the process which involves removal of hydrogen. Okay, for example, consider it is a process which involves removal of hydrogen. Example, we can consider hydrolysis of water. Water undergoes electrolysis and results in the formation of hydrogen and oxygen. Children, listen here. Here we can consider it is the process which involves removal of hydrogen, but reduction is considered as a process which involves addition of hydrogen. In case of reduction, we can involve addition of hydrogen. Hydrogen combines with the chlorine and produces hydrogen chloride. Is it clear? So we define oxidation as the process which involves addition of oxygen or addition of electronegative radical. At the same time, it can also be defined in terms of hydrogen as the process which involves removal of hydrogen or removal of any electropositive radical is also considered as oxidation. At the same time, reduction in terms of oxygen is defined as the process which involves removal of oxygen or the process which involves removal of electronegative radical, or in terms of hydrogen, we can say that reduction is the process which involves addition of hydrogen, or we can say that addition of electropositive radical. Is it clear children? Now let us consider certain common examples. So we have studied about oxidation and reduction in terms of hydrogen as well as oxygen. Now example, if you consider lead oxide combines with carbon and produces lead and carbon monoxide. Okay, so here if you consider carbon converts to carbon monoxide, that means it involves addition of oxygen. So we can consider it as oxidation process. And in case of lead oxide converts to lead, or it is the process which involves reduction of oxygen. So this type of reaction in which oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously is termed as redox reaction. Is it clear? The process in which oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously is termed as redox reaction. Is it clear? Here we have seen that it involves addition of oxygen as well as lead oxide converts to lead. That means it involves removal of oxygen. And this type of reaction where oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously is termed as redox reaction. So we can say that the process where oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously is termed as redox reaction. Okay, so this type of reaction where both oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously is termed as redox reaction. Now let us consider another example for redox reaction. That is, if you take hydrogen sulfide combines with chlorine and produces hydrogen chloride and sulfur. Okay, again you consider this reaction. First it involves addition of hydrogen, which is termed as reduction, or we can say that hydrogen sulfide converts to sulfur, which is termed as removal of hydrogen, that is oxidation. Is it clear? Here we explain oxidation and reduction in terms of addition or removal of hydrogen. Chlorine becomes hydrogen chloride, which involves addition of hydrogen, and hydrogen sulfide becomes sulfur, which involves removal of hydrogen. Again, this type of reaction where oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously is termed as redox reaction. Is it clear? Let us consider another one more example so that the term becomes very clear. So we can say that magnesium combines with fluorine and produces magnesium fluoride. Okay, again we can say that in this case magnesium converts to magnesium fluoride, that is addition of electronegative radical. So we can say that it is oxidation. And in this process we can consider addition of electropositive radical, so that is reduction. When fluorine gets combined with magnesium and produces magnesium fluoride, it involves addition of electropositive radical, and magnesium when converts to magnesium fluoride, it involves addition of electronegative radical. Again, the process where oxidation and reduction takes place with the help of addition of electronegative or addition of electropositive radical is again termed as oxidation and reduction. Or this type of reaction where oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously is termed as redox reaction. Is it clear, children? So we have defined oxidation and reduction in terms of hydrogen, oxygen as well as electronegative or electropositive radical. The rest we will study in next class. Thank you, children.